Koi Koi, one of the most popular Hanafuda games in recent time. This Hanafuda game had various video game adaptations and was even showcased in the anime movie Summer Wars. So what more can I possibly add? There's so many videos on YouTube teaching you how to play this game. I'll give you an advice. Download any of the Hanafuda games you can play on your smartphone, and chances are, it's gonna be Koi Koi. Read the instructions for a bit and just play it. That's the quickest way you learn the game than having another person with you who knows how to play Hanafuda and playing with them. Okay? Thanks for watching! Oh, you're still here. So you want me to teach you how to play Koi Koi? Alright, and since this is the final part of the Hanafuda for Beginners series, I think it's most appropriate to end on a game that is actually widely played. Koi Koi is a Hanafuda fishing game. The koi in the name means come on in Japanese, and the name refers to the gameplay element where a player calls to continue a round after it has been stopped. The origin of the game is disputed. A reference book says that it originated from the Aizu region in Japan and it spread to Tokyo around the late 1920s. Some people disagree with this origin, believing that Koi Koi was a simplification of a Korean Hanafuda game which is now known today as Go Stop. Although there were Korean articles that mentioned that it was Japan that brought Go Stop to Korea. Whatever the case, the game became quite popular, and today it has currently become the representative game of Hanafuda, replacing the game of Hachi Hachi. Sorry Hachi Hachi, you're too complicated. Anyway, what could have possibly contributed to its popularity? Is it because the instructions are included in most Hanafuda decks? Is it because of the fast pace and exciting gameplay of trying to form a Ryaku before the other player does? Is it because there are no tedious counting of card points at the end of each round? Well, enough rambling, let's learn the game and find out. Just like Mushi and Rokutan, Koi Koi is a two-player game. If there are more than two players, they will have to wait until they could change places with the loser of the last game. The objective of the game is to form a Yaku before the other player does the same. Unlike in the Hanafuda games mentioned in my previous videos, Koi Koi does not use any card points. All points obtained in the game will come from Yaku. You may play as many rounds as you like. The game starts by choosing the dealer, who will also take the first turn during the game. This can be done by a roll of a die or by the traditional card drawing method. Choose whichever method you want. Next, the dealer takes all the cards and shuffles the deck. The dealer then deals 8 cards to each player's hand and 8 cards on the field face up, and the rest of the cards are put face down on the table as the draw pile. Again, if there are 4 cards of the same suit on the field, the deal is void, and so the dealer must reshuffle and deal again. For demonstration purposes, I will be showing the cards in my hand. The gameplay during your turn is the same as in Bakappana and Hanaawase. But before I continue the gameplay demonstration, let's talk about the Yaku that you will have to form in the game. There are 9 Dekiyaku in the game. All Dekiyaku stack, meaning you get points for every Dekiyaku you form, with a few exceptions. 10 Junks, worth 10 points. You also get an additional 10 points for every extra junk beyond 10. For the purpose of this Yaku, the Sake Cup card also counts as a junk card. 5 Animals, 10 points. You also get an additional 10 points for every extra animal card beyond 5. 5 Ribbons, 10 points. You also get an additional 10 points for every extra ribbon card beyond 5. 3 Red Ribbons with Writing, 50 points. 3 Purple Ribbons, 50 points. For the Brights Yaku, Note that all Bright Yaku are mutually exclusive and you only get points from the highest scoring Bright Yaku you form. 3 Brights consists of any 3 bright cards except the Rain Man, 50 points. Some players use 60 points for this Yaku. If you add the Rain Man to your 3 Brights, then it becomes the 4 Rainy Brights, 60 points. Some players use 70 points for this Yaku. If you add another Bright other than Rain Man to your 3 Brights, then it becomes the 4 Dry Brights, 80 points. And finally, adding the remaining Bright card to your 4 Brights gives you 5 Brights, 100 points. Some players use 150 points for this Yaku. Take your time to write this Yaku down on your cheat sheet. You will need it. Back to the gameplay demonstration. As you can see on my hand, I have plenty of ribbons, so it might be best to try and form a 5 ribbons Yaku. Okay, nice start. It's my opponent's turn now. Looks like my opponent's gonna go for 5 animals. My turn. Ooh, that was lucky. Not only did I get 2 ribbons here in just one turn, but I also captured all the peony cards on the field. Not to mention, the field is empty now. Good luck. My turn. Oh, no capture, huh? Karma's real, I guess. Okay, my opponent gets 1 more animal. 2 more to go. Gotcha! It's over now. I've got the 5 ribbons Yaku. Just like in the game Rokutan, forming a Yaku in the game stops the round. But, unlike Rokutan, the player who formed the Yaku has the option to continue playing or stop the round if they want to. To stop the round, they say Shobu. In that case, the round ends and the player earns the points from their Yaku and deals the next round. Alternatively, they could continue playing the round by saying Koi Koi. In that case, the other player takes their turn. The round ends again once a player has formed another Yaku. Note that increasing the value of a 10 junks, 5 ribbons, or 5 animals Yaku also counts as forming another Yaku. The player who formed the Yaku this time also has the option to stop or continue the round. Koi koi. Oh, looks like the opponent is 1 card away from forming 3 Brights. That can't be good. I got 7 ribbons now. I can stop it if I want. Koi koi. Oh no! Oh, and by the way, if you formed a Yaku called Koi Koi and then your opponent forms a Yaku and they stop the round, they get points from the Yaku they formed and you get 0. So think twice before you call Koi Koi. What if both players run out of cards in hand after the round was continued? Then the round just ends. All cards left in the draw pile and on the field are considered dead cards and are not taken by any player during the round. The last player to form a Yaku gets points for all the Yaku that player has formed and also deals the next round. What if both players run out of cards in hand and nobody has formed any Yaku? Then the round ends and the dealer earns 50 points and also becomes the next dealer. The scores are tallied in similar fashion to Rokutan. There are two methods and you may choose whichever method you like. And that was Koi Koi. I can hear some of you screaming from the back over there, "Why are the rules you taught different from those taught in other videos? There's a lot of things missing in your rules." Well, I can explain. Since Koi Koi is a popular game, that could only mean one thing. There are many house rules that can be added to spice the game up. For example, some people play that there are additional Yaku in the game, such as Bordeer Butterflies and Cards of the Month. Some people play such that nobody earns points when both players run out of cards in hand, even if they formed Yaku. Some people play such that the points you earn during the round double every time you call Koi Koi. Some people play such that the points you earn during the round is doubled if there's a bright card present on the field. There may be as many house rules for this game as there are houses. But let's cut the chase. The rules I have shown to you is the old basic version of the game of Koi Koi. See? It's even published by Nintendo during the 1960s. This blue leaflet was included in every Hanafuda deck during those times. And it has two games, Mushi and Koi Koi. However, the rules that you may be familiar with is the modern version of Koi Koi. This rule set was also released by Nintendo around 1994 to complement the usual piece of toilet paper they used to include in each Hanafuda deck. Yeah, the one that has the number 88 on it. It's actually a rule set for the game of Hachi Hachi, which they started putting in Hanafuda decks since 1976. Hachi Hachi is not a beginner-friendly game. How can you possibly fit all the rules of Hachi Hachi into a small piece of paper like that? Well, guess what? They didn't. Anyway, unlike the 1960s and 1970s leaflets, which assume that you already know how to play the game that you're trying to learn about, kinda like this video that you're watching right now, the modern Koi Koi leaflet contains basic Hanafuda information and instructions on what to do during gameplay. So, it's definitely targeted towards beginners who have no prior knowledge to Hanafuda, which is fitting since at this period in time, Nintendo was already established as a video game giant. But they did not stop making the product that established them about a century ago, and they probably wanted the new generation who are curious about Nintendo's history to at least try playing the Japanese card game for themselves. Well, the rule set itself isn't perfect, and some elements in the game were left unexplained, but it was effective. This rule set has more or less been adopted as the basis for the rules of most Hanafuda video games today. Modern Koi Koi is the same as old Koi Koi, but with several house rules integrated into the game to make the game more exciting. TEYAKU. Modern Koi Koi has two TEYAKU, and they also stop the round just like the Dekiyaku. However, because they are very disadvantageous when actually played in-game, it is understood that the player will automatically stop the round and claim the points, and so the option to continue the round is not given. Because of this, the TEYAKU in Koi Koi are also known as lucky hands. Anyway, here are the two TEYAKU. 4 of a kind in hand, 60 points. 4 pairs in hand, 60 points. It is also possible to form 2 4 of a kinds in hand, which technically forms both of the above Yaku. However, it is so rare that the rule sheet doesn't bother explaining if the player gets points for both Yaku or for just one of them. And remember, you must declare to the other player that you have a TEYAKU before the dealer starts their first turn. Otherwise, the TEYAKU is void. So it is advisable to remind the dealer that the players must check their hands for TEYAKU before they start their first turn. Multipliers. Do you ever wonder why they even bother with the option to continue the game after it has been stopped? When you can just stop the round and claim the points all the time? Not to mention the dealer's advantage? Well, this is where multipliers come in. If you manage to capture TEYAKU enough to reach 70 points or more, then the points you will earn will double. So it encourages players to call Koi Koi if they think it's safe enough to form another TEYAKU. On the other hand, if you called Koi Koi and then your opponent forms a TEYAKU before you can form another, then the points they will earn from their TEYAKU will double, and as usual, you get nothing. So be extra careful when calling Koi Koi. Alright? Also, these multipliers stack. If the above was done, and your opponent happens to have TEYAKU worth 70 points, then their earnings will quadruple. Oh, and by the way, you can only call Koi Koi once per round. The dealer's advantage worth 50 points is removed from the game. Instead, if both players run out of cards in hand and nobody has formed any Yaku, then the round ends in a draw, and the dealer for the next round is the other player. Additional TEYAKU. Boar Deer Butterflies, 50 points. You also get an additional 10 points for each extra animal card. Yeah, well, what if you get the 5 animals Yaku afterwards? How are you gonna compute the extra 10 points then? How many cards are gonna be counted for those 10 extra points? I don't know. The rule sheet doesn't bother explaining it. Personally, I don't like playing with this additional 10 points rule. It just clashes with the 5 animals. Oh yeah, and the 3 red ribbons and 3 purple ribbons also has this rule. Get out of here. Optional TEYAKU. Flower Viewing, 50 points. Moon Viewing, 50 points. These two TEYAKU stack. For some reason, the rule set specifies that these two Yaku do not have to be used in-game. The actual reason why people would not want to include these Yaku is because these two Yaku are so easy to form and so powerful that it makes it a no-brainer to capture the Sake card as soon as possible during every round, and removing them makes the game more balanced. And that was Modern Koi Koi. Now before I end this video, there is another Koi Koi variant I want to discuss. There is a Koi Koi house rule that is attested to be played in the Gifu region in Japan, and it is known as Oni Koi Koi. Yep, the HANAFUDA mechanic makes a comeback in this series, but it's totally different from the HANAFUDA rules in Mushi. In Oni Koi Koi, you do not use the Junk of Willow as the HANAFUDA. Instead, the Phoenix card is used. Why the Phoenix card? I don't know. Anyway, you play Koi Koi like you normally would. Whether it's the old Koi Koi or the modern Koi Koi rules, it doesn't matter. There are only 2 additional rules for only Koi Koi, one of which is optional. The first rule is that after the cards have been dealt, players must check if they have the Phoenix card in their hand. If they do, they must declare to have that card by exposing it to the other player.
I have the HANAFUDA.
Note that unlike in Hana Awase, the other player cannot capture the exposed Phoenix card as if it were on the field. If the Phoenix card is exposed, it is considered a wild card and can be used by the player to capture any card on the field regardless of its suit. Alternatively, the player may choose not to expose the Phoenix card. In that case, the Phoenix card can only be used to capture other Polonia cards as normal. The second rule is optional. If the Phoenix card is on the field, it can be captured by any card, regardless of its suit, as long as it's not a junk card. If you choose not to play with the second rule, then the Phoenix card on the field can only be captured by another Polonia card as normal. And that's all there is to Oni Koi Koi. If you have already played Koi Koi before, I suggest you give this rule a try. Anyway, those are the major Koi Koi games I know. There are some people who talk about Hawaiian Koi Koi, but that game has nothing to do with Koi Koi at all. It's just a nickname for the game Sakura. But anyway, that's enough talk regarding Koi Koi for now. As I said in the beginning of this video, this will be the end of the Hanafuda for Beginners series. This means that you already have enough knowledge to become a casual Hanafuda player. You know how to classify Hanafuda cards. You know how to play with them, matching cards, capturing the high-ranking cards, forming Yaku, using the wild card to your advantage, house rules, etc. You also know how to play Koi Koi, the most popular Hanafuda game today. Most people who know Hanafuda only know 1 or 2 games that can be played with them. We have encountered 5 games. Even more than 5 if you consider some local rules as separate games. You should give yourselves a round of applause. Congratulations. But you know, an end of a journey is the beginning of a new one. Those 5 games we saw, that is just a small number of games. There's about 100 games we could play using Hanafuda. From here onward, this series will branch toward multiple directions. We can continue learning more gameplay elements and eventually learn the ultimate Hanafuda game, which is Hachi Hachi. Or we could go on a different path and learn various local Hanafuda rules from around Japan and even around the world. Or we could go beyond matching flowers and learn other families of games played using Hanafuda. Or maybe we can go wild and discover various new ways to play Hanafuda. The Hanafuda for Beginners series may have ended, but the whole Let's Play Hanafuda series is far from over. This is only the beginning, folks. Only the beginning.